Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this special council meeting for the Stormont, United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry this Monday, February the 28th. Welcome to council members and staff and those watching live. Councillor Armstrong will not be able to join us today, and Councillor Jaworski is on her way, will be here shortly. In the meantime, we will get going on this meeting. So please, Madam Clerk, call by resolution.
It's moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Warden, that the special meeting of the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry be hereby called to order.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? Carried. And the adoption of the agenda, Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Byveld, seconded by Councillor Fraser, that Council approve the agenda.
Are there any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. And any disclosure of pecuniary interest in general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 4, which is the Now Needs Roads additional work. I would just like to say that this is it's a pleasure to be actually being able to have this special meeting today. You know, for council to have the forethought of actually creating this reserve, I think is a good news story, and to be able to get extra work done on our roads is it should make us all happy, regardless of which roads are chosen. So after that, please go ahead, Ben.
Thank you, and I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll kind of echo that sentiment that it's a great thing to be meeting about, to say, hey, let's figure out how we can get ahead of ourselves or get ahead of the infrastructure needs that we have across the county. So, you know, I do want to express from a staff's perspective, you know, I want to commend council for this policy and really being willing and able to meet, and this is a great news item for sure. You know, and this is not a first for council. Think of last year with Martintown. That was getting ahead. That was a road that wasn't included in our infrastructure plans, but yet we had extra money. It was shovel ready, and council committed to doing it and got it done. So this is in some ways no different than that approach that we're trying to figure out how we can get ourselves ahead. As we go through the roads that we're going to be talking about today, I do want to remind council that there's no wrong answer here. There's all reasons and justifications for all of the roads that we're going to be having good discussions about. They're all in similar condition. They all have various different needs, but ultimately they're all considered a now need road that requires some attention and intervention. I'm sure where you sit, as much as where I sit, I wish we had enough money to do them all. Of course we don't, and that, I guess, is why we're here today, to really kind of work through where we want to prioritize. And again, any choice that is made improves the county network, which is what we're here for and what we're all trying to achieve. So, you know, good on council for being here and being able to do that. Just a quick breakdown and background on what brought us here today. Again, just a reminder to council, so what we do on a 4-year cycle is evaluate all of our roads across SDG, create a 4-year resurfacing plan based on a budget as well as a target trying to maintain our road system and improve it. Now reconstruction needs generally don't make it on that 4-year plan. They're not shovel ready, and a reconstruction need, just for council's reminder, is a road that requires more than just kind of a treatment of some sort, a rehabilitation of some sort. Usually you're digging into and replacing granulars, you're replacing some of that infrastructure underground. Think of Martintown, where we dug up that whole roadway. Similar, County Road 22, Dyer Road, where we're going to be widening, so we have to actually construct road platform, redo ditches, things like that. County Road 34 in Alexandria is another example of a reconstruction need that does need to get addressed, and those are generally addressed outside of that 4-year plan. Now rehabilitation needs do make it on the 4-year plan. Not all of them make it on the 4-year plan because we have a limited amount of budget and we have more now need roads than rehabilitation roads than we have budget. They're more expensive per kilometer than other treatments that we can do on our roadways, so they usually tend to have a lower return on investment, which is why they end up being, if you kind of look at what, how that 4-year resurfacing plan is created, essentially what it's doing is it's looking at where's my highest return on investment. So a road that has some cracks that we can crack seal so you can get 50 kilometers done for a very low price, it's going to say do that first. It's going to say do your microsurfacing. It's going to say do your single lift resurfacing, and then it gets to double lift resurfacing with some treatments like rehabilitations is generally the last thing that it picks to satisfy the budgetary needs of our system. And that's really what we're talking about today is rehabilitation needs that just didn't make it onto that 4-year plan. And as council is aware, we do have a now needs roads policy. The surplus that we've generated, thanks to some good pricing we got last year, use of COVID funds in creative ways, additional funding we received, created a surplus for it. The way that policy is set out is that it's used at council's discretion to address now needs roads that are shovel ready, that are not included in the 4-year plan. So any road we're talking about today satisfies that requirement of the policy. Now reconstruction needs and now rehabilitation needs would meet this definition if they are shovel ready. So a road like County Road 22, Dyer Road, still not quite shovel ready. So, obviously it's up to council how they want to spend that money, and staff are going to duly execute the direction we get. But for example, this time next year, for certain, we've got an intention to have County Road 22 shovel ready. So once that road is shovel ready, we're, that's a road that, we're going to be bringing back to council very regularly to get it done. Oops, excuse me, went too far. What we're talking about today is essentially $2 million in surplus and $1 million in additional OSIF funding, which can be used to address the infrastructure needs. And I'm suggesting when council's thinking about the work we're targeting today, we just think of a $3 million pot of money that we can use to address our needs. Of course, it's nice to think that we can exactly zero out that balance and fix, check a bunch of boxes, but the reality is that that both sides of the equation don't often equal. So my thought is that, or my expectation, depending on how council wants to execute this, is that we would have a balance left over. Just based on the fact that it would be challenging to spend exactly $3 million. In so saying, that those would remain in that reserve. And, I do want to throw this out to council, that a healthy balance in that reserve could help assist in some of the roads that we know are coming and that are going to be relatively expensive. For example, County Road 22, which we're targeting for shovel ready in 2023. So there's nothing in that policy that says you have to spend every dime of the reserve we've created right now. How we got to what we're talking about today, transportation staff reviewed many now needs roads through the summer. We identified what were considered to be and I say the worst, but maybe you want to say they're the best candidates. We looked at those roads during the fall road tour just to give council an idea of what those roads were like, and I'm sure as you saw them as well, you could appreciate that they're relatively similar. Each one had its own different characteristics, but there's relatively similar kind of condition, ride, feel through them all. The other road that we have included based on direction from council was County Road 7, and that's due to the adjacent work that we have included in our 4-year resurfacing plan. And when you look at the condition of County Road 7 and the evaluation of County Road 7, again, very similar to the 5 best roads. So, very reasonable and very prudent that council includes that in our discussion today. And there is, again, when I talk about the similarities, there are different failure mechanisms and deficiencies which drive their condition ratings, and I'll try and highlight those because perhaps that helps council establish what the priority and, how they want to address them as a priority. So with that, I'll get into each section of roadway, and I'm just starting in numerical order. County Road 7, which was the road we talked about with council during the January meeting. And again, just a reminder, we are doing both sides of County Road 7, both the east, I guess it's north, we'll say the east and the west side of County Road 7, in between, or on opposite sides of this large stretch, 4.5 kilometers of roadway. Daily traffic is 604 cars a day, and that makes it a class. Cost estimate is $910,000. And this is really from Froats Road to County Road 8. In that road section, there's thermal cracking throughout. You can kind of see this in the pictures that I show. We don't have paved shoulders, so that tells me that this is actually, it's been a long time since this road has been addressed or paved, because we've had paved shoulders as a standard since the early 2000s, from what I understand. Urban area has curbing and storm sewer that will need some repair and replacement. One thing I want to point out is there is a loss of shoulder edge, so you can see that that shoulder edge is starting to come apart. That's relatively typical whenever we don't have paved shoulders, and one of the benefits of having paved shoulders is that you avoid having that creep of that shoulder. Easily repairable, though. I'm not going to suggest that this is some kind of detriment. We can go in there, put some cold patch and hold that shoulder, so it's not like it's a significant safety concern that can only be addressed through rehabilitation. We will and can take steps to keep that safe and avoid a drop-off. With our CCTV work we've done over the past summer, we have confirmed that the storm sewer in Dunbar is still in relatively good shape, which is good news. There are some spot repairs that we need to do, but following the January meeting, we went through and looked at all the information we had, and we feel very confident that we can repair pieces of that storm sewer and get that back into in good condition. We would remove the curbing through Dunbar and replace it in its entirety. It's in poor condition, so it is due for a change anyway. Looking at sometimes whenever we look at widening shoulders where it hasn't been widened in the past, we have to pay attention to ditches, roadsides, and road platform. In this circumstance here, we've got lots of space for it, so there's no issue from our end to be able to widen that platform. So from our perspective, or from staff's perspective, we feel very confident that a rehabilitation here with cold-in-place treatment would function well and would suit this road well, and that's what our cost estimate is based on, including some of those storm sewer repairs that I mentioned earlier and curbing repairs. Switching gears to County Road 8, the length of this section, it's from County Road 18 to Beckstead Road. It's 6.1 kilometers. It's a 543 cars a day, so that's a class 4 roadway, similar to County Road 7. To do this roadway, our cost estimate is $1.2 million for rounding sake. When you look at this roadway, you can tell a definite difference in terms of, like I'm going back to County Road 7 here, you can see there's some, alligator thermal cracking, there's thermal cracking and some cracking kind of center lane. What you see here on County Road 8 is that cracking is happening at the traveled path of the wheel, so that is a good indication that we've got some soft material underneath it. It's not everywhere, but there is a lot of it. We do know it's a wet section of roadway, and you can see it in this picture. We've got cattails both on the northeast and west side of the roadway, so chances are it's poor bearing capacity under this roadway. We do not have a detailed geotechnical study through the entire section, but we do have some information, and we have treated roads like this in the past. Our suspicion is it is a corduroy road, and that's based on some historical kind of staff information we have. Corduroy road, just for information, is whenever, and it's very common, we have many of them in soft, wet areas where they've laid down, when they cleared the roadway, they laid down trees, logs, and then built up from there. And actually, it's a very, even though there's no real design standard for that, it actually can sustain a road for a very, very long time. So just an aside, but we feel very confident that we can rehabilitate this roadway. We would keep a larger than typical contingency just to be able to make sure we've got some space if we have to add some granular material to clean up some soft spots. But by and large, we feel a cold-in-place treatment would be acceptable here, and it's a paved shoulder, so we know the platform width is good. It's all rural, and that would address County Road 8. So we feel very comfortable in this recommendation here. Moving ahead, County Road 9. This is our largest section of roadway that is that's made the quote-unquote top 5. This extends from Berwick really to County Road 15. What you can see here, similar to County Road 8 in a sense, is there's some localized rutting where you've got thermal cracking and alligator cracking. There's asphalt pop-outs, so you can actually see some of those asphalt pop-outs and cold patch that have been just right here, where our staff are out there because the asphalt is starting to flake off and come apart. It's a thin lift of asphalt over a previously stabilized base, and our suspicion is this is an older stabilized base, so there's probably some suspect deterioration of that stabilized base. There are some sections of this roadway which are very punishing, and I'll particularly point out near County Road 15 where it's very, very rough. And I think if you go out there right now, as you get the warm sun and some surface melting versus the frozen material underneath, it would ride very, very rough. I haven't been there in the last couple of weeks. But there is some punishing rides throughout there. One thing, and I don't have this in my report, but I do want to just point this out to council, is that there is we'll call it like a natural split to this section of roadway. So, recognizing this is a pretty significant cost, you could split it, and it's not quite in half, but it's about 6,000 meters to Finch Roxborough Boundary Road and 3,000 meters to SDG 15. So, in theory, if council was looking to do some of this roadway, we could, I think within a couple minutes, I could come up with a relatively good number for council to consider if that's the approach they wanted to take here. Just given that it's such a large stretch of roadway and such a significant cost. County Road 19, this is a Class 3 roadway, has a traffic count of about 1,300 cars a day. This section of 19 that we're particularly talking about is 2.5 kilometers, but that doesn't represent the entire section of 19, which essentially extends from the city of Cornwall all the way to Williamstown. And what's really, from what we see in how this section, I'm going to say scored, what's driving this is there's a pretty significant rut in the it's the eastbound lane, excuse me, and I've tried to kind of capture it in the pictures here. And a rut is often considered a relatively, it's a safety concern because it can pool water and you get black ice in a rut. So there is that's really what's driving this section. And again, like if you look at how we've thought about County Road 7, I'm not sure, because this is a little piece in the middle of a lot of roadway. So I'm not sure if council, again, it's up to council. It scored poorly. Our estimate for this is $423,000 to fix this entire section completely. But it would fix a section in the middle of the rest of the roadway, which is not far off of the condition of what we have here. There is thermal cracking. The ride is, not great. So you do have kind of a punishing ride as you drive through this section of roadway. One option for council to consider, again, just similar to what I mentioned on County Road 9, an alternative treatment other than fixing the entire roadway, which is what we've costed out here, is we could look at a small skin patch here and just clean up this rut, let this road deteriorate and let the rest of the road catch up to it. And then at that point, it's more of a longer stretch that could be done. So that's an option. And although I don't have a cost estimate for it, it's not a significant amount of money that would be needed to kind of just quickly clean that up if that's the way council wanted to go. County Road 22, which is from the Via Tracks to County Road 30. So it's the east part of County Road 22, east of Maxville. What you see is rutting in both the eastbound and the westbound lane, and that's on the outside wheel track. There's alligator and thermal cracking throughout. There's significant defects in the paved shoulder, and our suspicion or our expectation is that that's a result of the work that was done to install the water main. Because really, we haven't constructed our shoulders to the same strength as what the rest of the roadway has in the past. Nowadays, as we go through and do our work, we're stabilizing the entire platform, so our shoulders are getting stronger over time, but just whenever the paved shoulder program was introduced back in the day, it was a very, very thin lift of asphalt over what was there before. So my suspicion is that's what happened on County Road 22, is just it looked strong, but it really wasn't strong underneath that shoulder. It is only half of the roadway, but it's the worst of the two sections, and really it is almost exactly half. The other half is 330 meters, 3,300 meters. So if council wanted to actually do the entire section of County Road 22, which again, I'm going to say the section just west of here between the tracks and Maxville, not quite as bad as this, but it is approaching the condition of this. So, yeah, double this budget and we can actually do the entire section, which would be about 6.6 kilometers long. Last road, but certainly not least, just given that this is actually the one with the highest traffic count. We're at, it's a Class 3 roadway. We're at 4,000 plus cars a day for a length of 4.1 kilometers. And this is the road which is running from the edge of the old concrete road, and you can kind of see it. I'll give you an indication here. And we've done some test digs here to find it. There's lots of asphalt underneath the old concrete roadway. And what's happened is that old concrete roadway was certain width, and then we have since paved wider and wider over time. And actually, I think even the ministry probably started that too. So if council wants the perfect goal on this one, what you'd really, in all honesty, have to do is go down, dig down to the old concrete road base, rubbleize it, so actually kind of break it all up, spread it all out so you have an even surface underneath, and then build back up again. From where I sit, I don't think that's good money, quite honestly. I think we are much better served in continuing to kind of process that our top layers, kind of treat it like a perpetual pavement, keep working that top layer and fixing up that top layer. What does it mean? Yeah, we might have a rut show up again in the future, absolutely. We might see some of those cracks from where the concrete's cracked underneath, but we can crack seal those. Since I've been here, we've filled some ruts along County Road 31, and they've maintained, they haven't gotten that much worse, or they get worse very slowly. So, you know, to me, it's way too expensive to go down and try and do something with that concrete. I think we're much better served continuing to improve the surface of that roadway. And when I say surface, we are stabilizing a base layer underneath it, which helps to provide an intermediate kind of sandwich layer before we pave over top of it. So that's what's recommended here. And that is the kind of 6 roads that we have in front of council for consideration. I've provided a summary here, which I think would help council just kind of, you know, keep focused on what different roads we have. And with that, I will turn it over to the warden.
Thank you for that report, Ben. Very thorough, and we'll go to a discussion. I hope you all saw my email. What I'd like to do is, to start off, is to do a straw poll of and ask everybody. I'll go through the list, and you can indicate what your choice would be. And of course, it has to add up as close as possible to the $3 million. I'm hoping, and then we'll record what your choices are, and I'm hoping we can see some kind of consensus, and which will help us narrow down this conversation. And if it doesn't work, we'll go straight to discussion. Now, if it's okay with you, unless you've got some good reason why we can't do you're going to get an opportunity to have the discussion. But I'd like to do a straw poll first. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. The question I have, Ben, is what would, all the 6 roads that you're showing us here today, what would be the best bang for our buck? I mean, you know, if roads that need to be done now and you can save tomorrow, that's the roads I'm looking at this point in time. So, you know, sometimes you let roads go too far, then you're into reconstruction of roads rather than just rehabilitating them or resurfacing them. So what roads of the 6 are you looking at that would be the best saving for the counties? That's what I'm looking at.
That's an excellent question to ask, because, you know, again, they all are, and that's one of the challenges of this. There's all different reasons where I can point to and say, here's why. If you put me on the spot like that, I would say, you know, your County Road 8 and your County Road 9 are in pretty, like, they're starting to fall off pretty fast. So if we don't deal with them in the near future, we will lose those roadways. That being said, and I'm going to asterisk that with saying that, you know, my expectation is that if, you know, and I'm going to say this for all of these roadways, I would not be surprised to see them on the next 4-year resurfacing plan, because they are kind of getting to that point where if we don't deal with it, like, the return on investment becomes, you know, it continues to ramp up as they get closer and closer to falling off the edge. So I think what we're doing here is we're putting roads ahead, which is a great thing, so, but those would, I'd say 8 and 9 would be the two to, where we can see we're actually out there cold patching it, and we're doing all sorts of things, and you can see that failure of in the wheelbase, which is, you know, that's going to turn to mush if we don't deal with it sooner rather than later.
Okay, now, are there any other questions to Ben? Rather than saying what your preferences are, I want to leave that discussion until after the straw poll. If you have a question for Ben, then go ahead. Jamie, then hang on, then we've got Jim, then we have Dave, and Kirsten, and Stephanie.
Just, Madam Warden, I'm just wondering if we can just maybe just do exactly what you're saying, just go around the table, everybody give their, what they think we should do, and if, when it gets to your turn, if you have questions that you want to ask on it, just to move things along, because we're gonna,
Yeah.
I have a feeling this could go around
No,
and
and
round
it
and
could,
round,
that's
but-
why I'm trying to narrow this down. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, that's my
Yeah,
intention.
That's what I'm saying.
That's my intention.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to start over here. No, okay. We'll start over here.
Thank you, Madam Warden. What I guess it's twofold. What I'm thinking about is, you know, we have to, you know, there's talk about that we're going to need to put some money aside for Dyer Road for next year. I prefer to, although we can't hold the next council to what we, you know, what recommendation that we make, but my recommendation for Dyer Road would be to do that next year, borrow the money from ourselves and pay it back over the four-year span, taking money out of the Now Needs Road budget. So having said that, I would like to see us do County Road 8, 19, 22, and 31. I think that if for County Road 9, that if we could break that up and do that in our regular budget, resurfacing budget, I think that that could be handled that way. But this probably gives us the most roads and the biggest bang, as Councillor over on the other side of me said. I think that that would be a good bang for the buck. I
8,
said County Road 8, 19, 22, and 31.
okay. And you've done the math, okay. Thank you for that. Councillor Wirt. So what I'm going to be asking you for is do the math so that whatever roads you're going to be putting on the table equals the 3 million or close to it. Councillor Wirt.
Through you, Madam Chair, and fully support what Councillor McDonald has said here. Obviously, I'm trying to represent 22 because it's been a living question for the entire term of this council. My only caveat would be is that if Ben needs some of the money that we're addressing today as part of that reserve so that we can do it in 23, that fact be factored in, and somewhere in the process I would like some kind of commitment that that this thing goes for sure next year, because this council will change. But I guess we can take a lead from Tim as to whether or not we can encumber a new council with anyway, I think you know the point that I'm trying to make, but I would support Councillor McDonald on exactly what he said here, unless we need some of this 3 million to be deferred into reserves so that we can get 22 done next year.
Okay. Councillor McDonald did put an option on the table. I understand that there's concern for County Road 22, which is Dyer Road, that is, of course, not shovel-ready yet, but will be in 2023. And Councillor McDonald put on the table that one way to sort of allay the excuse me, concerns of Councillor Wirt and Councillor Landry would be if council indicated that they support in principle the commitment to address County Road 22 in the next year. Now, there's no way to bind that decision, but I think if council's willing to consider that, I think that would then kind of simplify this conversation. Councillor Byvelds?
Thank you, Warden. I think this council's already, excuse me, committed some dollars to this budget to get 22 shovel ready. So really, I think whether we're all here or none here, the commitment's there. It's just a matter of somebody following through in the next year. And I sympathize fully for 22. I'm not saying it should not be done. I don't disagree. We should maybe put more dollars aside, but I think that commitment is already well started.
Go ahead, Ben.
What I was going to suggest, and whether council, agrees or not, I guess it's up to you. I think our Director of Finance has always proven to be a very astute manager of our funds. So perhaps if I recognize we can't commit the next council to something, but as a suggestion, you could, whatever decisions made today, you could direct staff to include County Road 22 Dyer Road in the 2023 budget, and then at least it's brought to the table and allows gives us myself and the Director of Finance that I guess was what I'm looking for. We then need to come up with creative ways to make sure it gets done one way or the other. So whether it's using reserves that we have or financing it or borrowing the finance, whatever that might be, we're still really we don't even have an estimate for it yet. So. But if that's maybe, that at least puts it in front of the next council and charges us with finding a way to make it palatable, because we're not dumb. We realize you don't want to see a 10% tax increase next year if that's what it ends up being. So, we would come with some kind of plan, and then council can decide at that point how they, how they want to execute that plan, or if they want to execute that plan. But anyway, my thought, I leave it to council how they want to proceed.
Okay, so I think that a very good option has been suggested here. Can I just get an indication of, is there anybody who thinks that really doesn't support that? That recommendation? Okay, Councillor Smith?
Thank you. Unless, I'm sorry, I'm thinking differently than everybody else, I think, but unless there's thoughts that we're not going to have enough work to keep everybody busy next year, I don't know why we're in a hurry to spend this extra money when gas prices and oil prices right now have never been so high. And I'm just wondering if we're in a hurry to spend money on overpriced, with the overpriced oil, then it might be next year to do it and get a better price. The RFPs would be much more easier to handle.
So you're suggesting put it all in reserves and hang on to it then? Okay, well,
I didn't say all of it. I'm just saying, like, balance our spending on the on our oil costs.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. We'll see if that gets any support as we go around the table. My question is there general support for asking council or staff to put this in the budget, and then it can be debated in 2023? Yes. Okay. Very good. Thank you. That's very helpful. Councillor Landry, it's your turn, please.
Through you, Madam Chair. So I had big discussions, but I think 22 will be looked at. So my only concern with 22 is we're looking at these roads here, but it seems like our reconstruction roads seem to be in discussion, and they just kind of, so I'm glad to see that we are going to make it a statement. I don't know how many of us are going to be sitting around this table next year, but the commitment that we're asking just to if we are shovel ready, that funding will be made available. So as far as what we're dealing with today, maybe Ben can, so you going through your words, you mentioned 8 and 9. So if we were to split 9 in regards to, you're saying closer to the 15, are we looking at half if you were to do one section?
It was 600 meters is one section and 300 is the other. Give me Give me a couple minutes here and I'll kind of give you a rough number.
Well, I'll carry on. So as you're looking though, which of the two is, would you like to be dealing more with the east end?
Yeah, the east end.
Closer to 15, which is the...
Sorry, no, that's wrong. The west end, closer to Berwick.
Okay.
That seemed to have more deficiencies for a longer stretch. The east end, it's really bad at 15, but then after you kind of get beyond 15 a little bit further, it does improve.
Okay, so my ask would be, so if you could come up and detail what those costs would be beneficial. 19, if you were to skin patch and let it come up to the rest of the roadway and then do the global when needed. So that's not the 423. 423 is fixing it. Yes. Okay, so that's potentially a number that I would like. 31, just with the travel count. I think we always have to maintain because it's quite higher than. So I would look at 8, 31, and then the 19, if it could be patched, and maybe half of 9 would be my take towards the 3 million.
Thank you very much, Councillor Landry. Councillor Fraser.
Thank you, Madam Warden. My thought on this is 7 and 22 in 2022, and then the balance of 22 in 2023. Thank you.
Sorry, can you just say that one more time, please?
7 and 22 in 2022, the balance of 22, that's not captured on the overhead, in 2023.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Byvelds.
Thank you, Warden. I'm not going to pontificate on my list of reasons why, because I think we should, but apparently it's not where we're going right now. So, County Road 7 is still at the top of my list. I think we discussed the death out of it a bit at budget. It's an old road that's tired and is due. I know the traffic count has lowered on it, but it used to be the workhorse. Excuse me. And part of the traffic count on that is it is a major truck route out of the northeast part of SDG, coming down to 31 and then onward to either County Road 2 or the 401. In rephrasing what I said at our last meeting, we would look smart if we connect the two sections now on the 4-year plan instead of what I made that comment. The other road, and I've only picked 2 because my feeling is I only want to look at those 2 and allow other councillors to have say over others, because I'm not going to make judgment on roads that I don't drive as high as I do the ones I do drive. County Road 31 is an old highway. I think we have to recognize that. The average daily count, I think, is underestimated a bit. I don't know when the last time that was done. I assume pre-COVID, but it's picked up. It's a major truck route into from the 401 going north. Goes into Winchester to the hospital, goes in the city of Ottawa. I'm probably guessing it's more like a class 2 road closer to a class 3. It's at the edge. I checked that. 5,000, so you're not that far away. The rutting is bad, and as Ben has said, we're not fixing the concrete. I think there's 16 layers of asphalt on top of it. Like, you just wouldn't do it. It's just not smart. So keep on fixing on top. But it's been probably closer to 20 years since it's been fixed on top, I suspect. It was before my term at council. So that's 2006. As I said, it connects the major roads that we need. It's got small shoulders. I don't know where they evolved from, but it's just, in my opinion, it's the old highways we really need to look at. It's 34, 43, County Road 2, County 31. High traffic roads, everybody drives them, more than just us as residents. They're the ones I focus on. The others, as I said, I allow whether it goes into Dyer or goes into a road now. that's up to council. I do believe, though, that we should at least spend the OSIF money, and we should at least spend some of the now needs road money. Like, we put it aside for a reason last year. I did push that, and I'm glad council agreed, but in the end, you know, if we just sit on money that maybe we should spend, it's probably a smart way of investing. Lower traffic roads, yeah, they're done, but I don't believe in treating every road equal in SDG. I think we gotta look at the roads that get the traffic counts, and then after that, we start pooling them together. So, my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Byveld. So just to confirm, County Road 7, County Road 31. Thank you. Councillor McGillis.
Well, this is eeny, meeny, miny, moe almost for me. I will agree with, one thing I do agree with is keeping some in reserves. We can't just deplete it right dry for the next council. 7, I agree with 7 should be, from what I'm hearing. County Road 7, 8, and 22. And keep the rest in reserve.
7, 8, and 22?
Right, and keep the rest, the little bit left that's in reserves. We don't know how much money is coming down the pipe, and, you know, for the next year, I know it's hard to get money for infrastructure. We can't even we're trying so hard to get money for a wastewater treatment plant, and there's nothing available. So I'm a little scared of, you know, what what's down the road in terms of the infrastructure funding. But I agree with, I would spend most of it and keep the balance into the reserves for next council meeting, or next council, because we don't have any idea with the way everything is in this world, what's coming down the pipe in terms of funding, federal or provincial. Well, I think we should be a little bit, use some fiscal responsibility and keep some money in the account. But and we won't be keeping much in with the pick I have, but a little bit, every little bit helps. That's what I'm going to do. So you got that? 7, 8, 22.
Thank you, Councillor McGillis. Just a question, Ben. What usually falls into reserves, sort of generally speaking, from infrastructure surpluses? Like, is it always a really varied number, or?
It's a varying number. There's occasions where in County Road 22, the Dyer Road one is an example where we have, for the last 2 years, budgeted $500,000. It's to help with the design, to help with the survey, but we're not spending $500,000 on a survey. We are, you know, if it's $80,000, the rest has then gone into a reserve. So it depends, and then there's instances where there's a surplus and we put it into a reserve. So it really always, it fluctuates. Yeah.
But generally speaking, there is some sort of surplus?
Yeah, in terms of like what reserves we have on hand right now, yeah, I think $2.5 million in roads general surplus. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Warden, please.
My choices are County Road 22 to 30, County Road 19, and County Road 8 and 31, 4 roads. Same as Councillor McDonald.
Oh, the same as, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same. Very good. Yes?
That is over the 3 million. We only have,
It's just under 3 million.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just doing it in my head real quick.
I know why you thought maybe he couldn't add, but he can.
It's under?
Okay, thank you, Councillor Warden. Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you, Madam Warden. If I may, I'd like to start with the questions that I had. So for Mr. Dahan, I have a few questions. When you were talking about 19, now recognizing it is in my backyard, so I'm biased towards it, but from your perspective, is that skim patch a better bang for our dollar and letting the rest of the roadway sort of equalize in terms of condition with the rest, and then do it all at once?
That would be, yes. So I think that would be a better use of the dollars, and then you end up seeing a more consistent approach to that section of roadway. The caution is, of course, like when we're doing, like each road is divided into different sections depending on speed limit, road cross section. Like we try and create lengths that are as consistent as possible, but that's County Road 19 is an example where we have a 2.5 kilometer section, and we whenever we do the next road need study and we look at the kind of what the program looks like, and I can tell you, like from a staff level, what council doesn't see is we have all these outputs of all these priorities, and then we start taking and moving things around to create, it might say like 19 from Cornwall to County Road 20. You should do it in 2023, and then this section just outside of Williamstown, do it in 2026, let's say. So what we'll end up doing is we'll actually kind of, and I don't want to say manipulate the data because that's not the right way to do it, is we try and amalgamate as many adjacent sections as we can so that it makes sense from a kind of as we roll the program out point of view. Yeah. But the risk is that you might end up where, if there's the one piece outside of Williamstown still hasn't deteriorated far enough, it's never going to make it on that schedule. So you end up in a situation like we have with County Road 7 as an example, where it's recommending we do this section over here, it's recommending we do this section over here. The section in between, it's not wrong to say we should do it, it's just that it hasn't reached high enough priority yet, so that's why it's skipped over. So how am I doing at not answering? So what I'm trying to say is, we do it, we're going to get these roads closer together because that is then, kind of, it's going to improve it a little bit. And I think it's fair to say that whole road, as I drive that road often enough myself, like it's in, relatively the same shape. So I fully expect we're going to see that deterioration and that kind of, you should do this section, this section, this section. It should be very similar in terms of when we have to go back and do it. But, we do take an unbiased approach when we look at these roadways. Like it's if these are the roads we need to do and it's going to cost us $11 million, that's what we present to council. And that's sometimes how you end up with those gaps in between some of those roadways.
Okay.
So my answer is yes. Let's see how the road needs study plays out, and we might have to have this kind of discussion for a little piece of 19 at some point in the future, which isn't a bad thing either.
No, thank you. Now, how about on the breakdown of 9? You were doing math, please.
I was working on that as. Let me just put it back up on the screen and excuse the. It's going to look a little uglier than I like to normally provide, but. So if we did the east part of County Road 9, which is the shorter part, so that's from 15 to Finch Roxborough boundary, it's about $660,000. The west part is $1.5 million, so that's from Finch Roxborough all the way to Berwick. And if we did a skin patch just on County Road 19 to clean up that rut, we're estimating roughly $50,000. And I want to thank my staff members for texting me some of these things as we're talking. So.
Okay. Those were my questions. I'll make one other global comment. I mean, with respect to do we spend now or do we spend later? We can't really predict what's going to happen in terms of oil prices. I mean, obviously it's not looking good, but we don't know where things will land. And I think, moving forward with the RFP process on what we decide is the right way to go. And if you come back with surprises about where the costs are, then you reevaluate at that time before council approves those RFPs. So I would say, just globally speaking, we move forward. In terms of my thoughts, I'm highly influenced by staff and I'm highly influenced by travel numbers. And so based on that, I would put 31 as my first choice due to the higher travel counts. I would put 19. However, I think if I correctly understood Mr. DeHaan, I would prefer the skim patch on 19 and then do that road altogether when the rest of the road needs to be done. I mean, there must be a skin patch based on the travel numbers, but I think in terms of deployment efficiency, I think it makes more sense to do that section in a more thorough way at another time. And then in terms of staff, the eight for the County Road 8. I would then, assuming that a bit of savings on 19, then direct some to the cheaper part of 9, which unfortunately I think you're saying is like the not worse side, but in terms of value, that's where it goes. And then 22. Now, I didn't actually add it up. I think I'm close to the number you had requested, Madam Warden, but that's where I land. Thank you.
Can you do a quick calculation, please?
I don't have quick calculations, but I have names next to each road
Okay, that's
for
good, that's
majority
fine. That'll do.
purposes.
Thank you, Councillor Jaworski. Councillor Gardner.
Thanks, Madam Warden. I have listened. I've changed it up a little bit in the interest of potentially leaving some money left. So I've got 31, 7, and 19.
31, 7, and 19. And Councillor Gardner, is that the full amount, or it's not a patch, it's the full amount for 19?
I would defer to the roads guy.
Okay, very good. That's fine, thank you. Thank you for that. Councillor Smith. Save
Thank
the
you,
best
through you,
for
Warden.
last.
As I said earlier, I'm not in a big hurry to spend all this money. However, Councillor Jaworski made a good point as far as not having to spend it all, but maybe put an RFP out and just see where that leads us. I expect that prices are going to be much higher than what we're going to see next year. So if we have a chance to see that, that would be great. I guess, like I said, once again, I'm not in a big hurry to spend it all. So if we got to spend some of it, I would like to see it go to 22 and 7 or 9, the West End. Part of it is I don't see that there's a big difference in the needs, which is needed more, which road is needed more than the other. Otherwise, a road or two wouldn't be on that list. So I guess I'm also going with a geographical decision, and that is, in the 3 years that I've been on this council, I've seen a lot of money being spent in and around the SDG, but I haven't seen a lot of it being spent in Stormont, north or south, as compared to the outside. So although I'm not speaking for South Stormont today because we're in pretty good shape, and I want to thank past council for leaving us that way, but if we got to spend some money, I would like to see a little bit of love shared with North Stormont in this consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. All right. So that's been a good discussion. Thank you, everybody. So, okay, thank you. Thank you. Not sure how this clarifies things now. I'm just thinking, we're going to have to, at the end of the day, we're going to have to do the math. We have 5 votes for County Road 7, 6 for County Road 8, 3 for County Road 9, 6 for County Road 19, 7 for 22, and 7 for 31. Yeah, okay, so to start with, you can start with County Road 31 at 927. Then you can go with County Road 22 at 552. And then we have 6 and 6. However, County Road 19, two councillors indicated they would prefer a skin patch, but that the majority would like to see the full length done. Yes, go ahead, Ben.
Thanks. If I could make a recommendation to council on that one, I think the skin patch is the right way to go. be perfectly honest with you. 19.
Okay.
19, and that's about, we're estimating about 50,000 for that. I think that's the smart move there, and then, you know, again, my suspicion is the way that road's deteriorating, because it was all built at the same time, it's gonna come up at the same time, even though it is different sections, and cleaning up that rut kind of addresses the safety concern there.
Councillor Landry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying well, thank you, Madam Chair. I hadn't gotten the numbers, but I'm not sure if I was one of those two, but I would support the skin patch. And I hadn't received the numbers as well for 9. I put the questions, but they came after my discussion. So I would maybe consider the east end of half of 9, just to, so again, I'm not sure where I stood on that. And lastly, since I have the mic, can we also look at, which doesn't, I think, implicate these numbers here, but in respect to the windmills and EDPR, Rebecca, Ben, I think both mentioned that this money that we will be getting will be in this fiscal year. Is it something in our powers to make sure that that money, whatever the number is, which we don't know yet, but could be allocated possibly to the reserve of 22? I understand, I think Iroquois Roundabout got funding with respect to the windmills over in Princeton. So it may be something that if council is willing, it's outside of the discussions we're having here, but it could potentially help out in the revamp of 22 if that could be considered.
Okay, Councillor Landry, we'll circle back to that at the end of this discussion, okay? Don't let me forget. Okay, so okay, so basically half of the dollars. Councillor Bivalds.
Thank you, Warden. So I'm going to do a little pleading here because 8 and 7 are one vote away. They're both, well, 7 is partially in South Dundas and the rest is in North Dundas. 8, that whole section of 8 is in South Dundas. All due respect to Ben and his crew, I know 8 is falling apart. I know why, because it's built in the swamp. But it doesn't get the truck traffic 7 does. I think ignoring 7 because it could be done another year is not the right time. I would, I guess, plead to council that they reconsider that and put 7 instead of 8. I might get, you know, we spent a lot of money on 8 other pieces. This is the next piece, technically, going from 818 to Beckstead. But when it comes to heavy traffic and what really needs to be as a economic corridor, I think 7 is more important. I know that Councilor Ward has heard it from other elevator operators up in his area. Like, I do believe that we'd be smart putting that piece of 7 in there, getting it done with. We'd have a real good roadway. You know, I see there's more trucks on that car than cars, I believe. If you sit there and just watch the traffic during the day, it is certainly a significant amount of truck traffic, and most of it's ag related. So I'll go with council's wishes, but that's my, you know, that's my little bit of negotiating or pleading to move 7 up. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Councillor McDonald, in just a second here. Just to remind you that, County Road 9 only got 3 votes. So unless somebody at this stage, unless several people at this stage of the game are going to change their vote to support County Road 9, I'm going to take it off the list. I don't see anybody doing that. Okay, so basically, we're down to what Councillor Bivalds was saying. County Road 7, County Road 8. Go ahead, Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Yeah, when I said County Road 8, it just came more from, my original one was County Road 7, but when Ben said that County Road 8 is falling apart and we're getting close, that's why I chose it, but I trust the people from Dundas, I guess, that perhaps County Road 7 is more important. So that would put us, if we put County Road 7, that would put us at $2,439,000.
Are you changing your vote, Councillor McDonald?
Yes.
So you're going with County Road 7 now?
Yes.
Okay, so that makes it, we're at 6 for County Road 7, 5 for County Road 8. Go ahead, Ben.
And if I may, and again, I don't want to. Both are excellent choices. 7 makes sense. Like I get it, and I don't like, you know, I did say County Road 8, but it'd be like similar to asking, do you want cherry pie or blueberry pie? And I say cherry. They go, well, there's none left. Is blueberry okay? Oh yeah, heck yeah, it's okay. Like, so again, like I I pointed out 8 just because of the structural issues that I see in the wheel path. But when you look at 7, and again, I'm not trying to sway one way or the other, but when you look at 7, you know, we haven't paved those shoulders, so that tells me we haven't been there in a long time, but 8 has paved shoulders. So that, you know, if you're looking from a timing perspective, actually 7 is due over 8. But again, 8, we see some structural issues. So there's no wrong answer here. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, Councillor Fraser.
I just wish I had an opportunity for Councillor McDonald, because I did want to do some arm twisting on it. The local knowledge that Councillor Byvelds has about 8 and 7, I think the right choice is 7. I did vote for 7. The heavy truck traffic that is seen on 7, I'm surprised by the ADT numbers in 7 and 8, and being local to 8, growing up running, I don't want to say running the roads, but traveling up and down 8 and 7 and all those roads, it is really not a heavy truck route. 7 is definitely something that is used by heavy machinery, heavy equipment, heavy trucks. It's necessary, and I just had a long speech about 7, and I just had to get it off my chest. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Fraser. Councillor Wirt.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, and I guess you've heard me say this before, where the smart money goes, and I score full points on the fact that we're on 7 anyway, but I would support 7, as Councillor McDonald has alluded to, but at that point, we put the balance of the reserves in, and Deputy Mayor Landry has also made a very valid point. We will see the benefits of the windmill project coming in this fiscal, so we use that with the balance that's left from the 3 to make sure that we fix 22.
Okay, well, we've made some excellent progress here, I would say. It's clear that County Road 7 is the choice of the majority here. So I won't belay this conversation any further unless somebody has something really important that's going to change the day here. So it looks to me like we've got County Road 31, County Road 22, a skin patch on County Road 19, and the beloved County Road 7. Councillor McGillis.
What's the count for 19 again, please? I didn't think there was that many
19
people.
is just the skin patch.
How many people supported that?
Pardon me?
How many people supported?
Supported 6
okay.
votes. Yeah. Okay, so. Okay, so that's excellent. I want to thank everybody. This was you really participated in a good conversation here. Do we have a resolution, please?
It will require a mover and seconder, and reads that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry approve the following now needs roads projects for 2022. County Road 31, County Road 22, County Road 19 skin patch, and County Road 7, and that council authorize use of the Now Needs Roads Reserve, and that staff be directed to include County Road 22, Dyer Road, in the 2023 budget, subject to the project being shovel-ready.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. We have a mover, Councillor Warden and Councillor Gardner. Seconded. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor.
Maybe
McGillis.
on the motion, can you not put the total amount, please?
Yeah, I can add the total amount. I believe it's 2.439 million total.
Very good. Did you have something, Councillor Byvelds? No. Okay, very good. Go ahead, Councillor Wirt.
Just through you, Madam Chair, just a question on the wording of the motion, but subject to being shovel-ready, is that necessary that that's in there?
I'll defer that to Ben.
Is it necessary? No, I guess not. We can strike that. That doesn't it doesn't change it. I think we're getting into design this spring, and we're going to keep council up to date in terms of how that design progresses. But yeah, no, I don't think it has to be in there.
Just a suggestion, Madam Chair.
That's fine. It can be removed.
Okay, is it fine with the mover and?
Fine with the mover and seconder? One other thing, our CAO is recommending that what is it, the which money?
The wind turbine ADP money, if we include that in the motion at this point, it's done. So that way, when we know what that dollar figure is, it goes right in there.
Yeah.
Is everyone good with that? So if we could include that in the motion, and then Madam Clerk, if you could please reread the motion. She's terrible. Yes, that's right. Yeah, Dyer Road, just to keep it clear.
So it reads that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry approve the following now needs roads projects for 2022. County Road 31, County Road 22, County Road 19 Skin Patch, and County Road 7, totaling $2,439,000, and that council authorize use of the Now Needs Roads Reserve, and that staff be directed to include County Road 22, Dyer Road in the 2023 budget, and that the wind turbine funds be directed to County Road 2022, Dyer Road budget for 2023. Is that right?
Mover and seconder good with that? Any other comments? I will call the vote. All in favor? Any against? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Good job. I think we have one other item. Councillor Landry, you wanted to? What? Oh, that was the item. Okay, okay. So we're gonna. That's my memory. Okay. We'll be going into closed session. Madam Clerk, if you could please read the resolution.
It's moved by Councillor Warden, seconded by Councillor Smith, that council proceed in camera pursuant to Section 239 2E of the Municipal Act 2001, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality contract issue.
All in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. Good to go. Okay, very good. Madam Clerk, motion to rise and reconvene.
It's moved by Councillor Byveld, seconded by Councillor Smith, that council rise and reconvene without reporting.
All in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. And a ratification bylaw, please.
It's moved by Councillor Fraser, seconded by Councillor Warden, that bylaw number 5340, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, be read and passed in open council, signed and sealed.
All in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. And adjournment by resolution.
Moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Byvelds, that council adjourn to the call of the chair.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you very